Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to show you guys around this giant container. This thing can handle 4 megawatts of power. Showing you guys around how the air circulation is actually going through this container, how it's able to handle so many miners, and what it can do, and my overall, after inspecting this, my overall view on this container, if it's a good buy or not. And this container is by the company Artemis Technologies. Unleash the power of Bitcoin mining with Tesseract Lonestar. It's a giant container designed and manufactured in the United States. You guys can go to their website, take a look, and see if it's something you'd be interested in. But in today's video, I'm just going to be showing you guys around this container and giving you guys an overall idea of it. And I'm at the Bitcoin 2025 Expo Center here, the conference in Las Vegas. I'm on the back side, by the way, so you'll see not many people out here. The conference is on that side over there, but I want to show you guys from here because I can see a lot more. So if you're interested in that, you know what to do. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and go to cryptollc.org. If you're looking to set up a Bitcoin data center for yourself, you're looking to jump into North Dakota, get yourself a megawatt there, maybe 1 megawatt, 2 megawatts, 3 megawatts, whatever you're looking for out in North Dakota. Or you're looking to host with us. We have hosting available as well. And before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, let's go. So, first of all, the one thing that when I came up to this container, I immediately wanted to look at is the airflow going into this thing, because it's so large. There's so many miners in there. There's so much power that I know that from the point of view of airflow, it needs to have a lot of air traveling through it. So that's the first thing we want to look at. Since I'm starting off from the floor, that's exactly what we're going to do. So you guys can see that it is taking in air from the bottom, not from the sides. The two sides is the exhaust. So you have the exhaust coming out from this side over here, and then you can see on the opposite side is another exhaust going that way. So basically air is coming from the bottom and being pulled out on the both sides of this mining container. You can see it's a tall mining container. Look how tall it is. You got what? How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. So it's a huge container here. I don't know if it's a standard height of a HQ container. Probably. Maybe it's not. I mean, it's obviously a custom container here. You can see how they have this metal here, right? This is not part of a standard container. You see that? So this is obviously custom. Everything is custom. It's not like they took I don't think they took a standard container and then started modifying it. They just built it all out custom. It's picked up off the floor. You can see that. One of the positive things about that is that it will not have issues with like snow and like garbage on the floor. But it is going to be pulling from the bottom up. So you can see they put a air filtration system. And look at that, they're copying us. They're copying Crypto LLC, because I think we were the first ones to use a polyester filter. Look at this, everybody. Oh, look. What we use. It's exactly what we use. It's really thick though. It might be too thick. But that's what we use at our data centers. Not as thick as this. We use about half the thickness of this guy. That's really thick. But you guys get the idea. They're basically copying us here. They're wrapping up the sides here. And then on the opposite side, you're gonna have the same thing. You're gonna be wrapped around here. So looking at that and seeing how much volume they're creating by putting two sides like this, it is extending out. That is good. If they made it flat, that would not be enough air. But even at this point here, by having, I think probably gonna extend it here on this corner as well. Hopefully they do. They have an extension here and they have it wrapped around with another polyester filter. But looking at this, at 4 megawatts, right? 4 megawatts, not 1, 2 megawatts, 4 megawatts. I do not think that's enough airflow, okay? That is probably not enough. Even if it's on both sides, at 4 megs, maybe it's just enough, maybe, but it is pushing it, and it looks like it might not be enough. Now, they do have intake fans, and these are giant fans. Look how giant they are, right? And that's understandable, because if you did not have these intake fans, there's not enough force pushing air up for all 4 megawatts. It wouldn't be enough. So they put these intake fans in. So that is a requirement. I agree with that, but that does create a situation where if one of these fans dies, right? If this thing dies, you're basically, this section of mining will all start overheating immediately. That is not going to be enough air, because you're basically, you have to give everyone enough air. There's also the possibility of as the air travels up, And these first couple of sections of miners or rows of miners, they're gonna have enough airflow being sucked in because they get fed first, right? But the very top over there, I do not know if that's enough air at the top. And I did ask some of their employees and I said, hey, do you guys have any of these operational? And they said that they have one, like this one's being deployed in Texas sometime soon, like in a couple of months after this conference. And then he mentioned that they have something similar. So it doesn't sound like they have this exact container being deployed anywhere as of yet. And so that leaves the possibility that those top sections up there, right, they might not have enough air. Yes, that's coming in, being immediately sucked in by the first couple of rows of miners, and then the top rows might not have enough air, all right? So that's a possibility. Again, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it does have enough air, maybe these fans are really, really powerful and they're pushing so much air that it's fine. Possibly, that could be it. I do not know. Now let's go inside and take a look and I'll show you guys around how it's built out. Now in terms of quality, the mining container does seem to be of high quality. Walking around inside, the metal is thick. They're using TP-Link switches. These breakers are ABB. These are high quality breakers. They're not using like, usually containers, they have cheaper breakers, but ABB is a premium breaker here. You can see here, specs on it. 433, 250, 3-phase, 4 wire, 1,000 amps. Looks like they're powering, what is this? I can't read that. Let's see, 300 amp. Okay, 300 amp breakers there. I wonder what that's for. You got your main one over here. This is 1,000 amps, right? I think it's a 1,000 amp breaker. Interruptible rating, 200 amps. Nice. I mean, 200,000 amps. I think it's AIC rating there. That's good, made in Italy. This guy here, yeah, 1,000 amp, there we go. So it's 1,000 amps, so that's half a meg, right? This is a half a megawatt. And you got 1, 2, 3, and then the opposite side you have 3 more. I think 3, maybe it has 4. Let's go inside and take a look here. Yeah, see how tall that is? Yeah, that's way taller than an HQ. So these are custom. See all the rows here? 350 amp PDU, all running the P34. Let me see, yeah, 3-phase neutral ground. So these are the newest connectors that most new miners use. You got 3 phases, and then you have neutral and ground. So this can support 3-phase miners. So if you get yourself a 3-phase miner running at like 5,000 watts, potentially you could run it here without any issues. Now it doesn't mean you have to run 3-phase. You can run 2-phase, which are most miners. They just wouldn't use one of those phases. So probably have to split that up where you have like AB, and then AC, and then BC, you know, and so on. But anyway, you can count up how many breakers they have here. So you can see the 350. So put that at 80% load on the 350. And you can count how many. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 on this side. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 22 breakers. Let me do some quick math here on the calculator, and I'll show you guys how much that's turning out to be. So here's my calculator. So we got 22 times, what is it? 350. 22 times 350 times 80% times 240 times 3. So there you go. 4.4 megawatts. So technically they can do 4.4 megawatts. I talked to their employee here, and he mentioned that they plug in a 5 megawatt transformer, but they don't load it to 5 because of he mentioned 80% rule, which doesn't apply to a transformer. You can get transformers of continuous usage, which means that if it's a 5 megawatt transformer, you can run it at 5 megawatts forever. You don't need to run it at 80% load. That doesn't apply to a continuous use transformer. So you can just get one of those. Technically, this thing supports 4. Now, these 350 already did the 80% rule, so you can do that at 4.5. So technically, I would say you can run this whole thing at 5 megawatts maximum. Then these guys are not going to be 80%. They'll probably be like 80, I don't know, 2, 3%, something like that. So this is a 5 megawatt, basically, container. So at that rate, see these fans here, bottom, right? At that rate, like, you have to understand, there's 5 megs in here, and all of these miners, they need all of that air, right? So there has to be some crazy amount of air being pushed. Now the technician that is going to be working in here, I don't know, he's probably going to freeze to death because he's standing like this, and all that air is just going in his pants and freezing him up. He's going to freeze to death and just, like, I don't know, die here on the floor. So you got to replace the technicians as soon as possible with new ones once you run out of the first couple of guys. Anyway, you got your TP-Link up there, as you guys can see. Hopefully that's what they use for all their containers. TP-Link is a solid brand for switches. So you have those coming in. What are those look like 48 port? Maybe 40? No, it's probably like 24 or 32 port. I think it's like a 32 port switch. I did not look into that. You see you have 3-phase coming in, 3-phase, neutral ground, all that good stuff. See the no arc breaker there? And you can see these, by the way, you see these connectors, you see they don't have a breaker. They do not have breakers. See that? No breakers. None of them do. You know, and technically you do not need one. And why don't you need one? Because if you're running 350 amps down the whole line, which means that if each one is connected at that same wire gauge and all that, you don't need to put breakers on it because the miner will never trip. It will never have overcurrent on the connector here, right? Because you're going to plug it in a miner, and a miner is, let's say, 3,500 watts, 4,000 watts, 5,000 watts, whatever. You're never going to trip. You're never going to run out of power at these connectors here. So you're solid here. So you do not have any breakers. That does save money in terms of, imagine you have like a little breaker here for each one. You do save on that. If you have a fan though, that's required for sure. You got to cool off this PDU. It's going insane, right? It's the 350 amps inside this box here. So interesting. Let's see what else we got. And you guys can see how they're running the 350 amp down into that big old, what is it called, conduit, and out the side over there. So that's coming outside to those panels that when I walked in here, I showed you guys. And then you can see the depth of the exhaust. So you have exhaust coming out this side here. Guessing those are picked up or removed. And then you have your exhaust coming out right over there. I want you to see it here. See that? So you have louvers there, and those louvers will just pick up from all the hot air blowing out that way. So that's also an interesting thing that you got to keep in mind when you get like a container like this for yourself. And actually might want to see one in person, because is it built out properly where when the miners are blowing out, do they have any significant backflow because of the not enough volume coming out, because it has to blow out at a certain rate. And the louvers on top need to open up for these miners and actually be able to have all that airflow come out. Because again, this is not a megawatt. You got to keep that in mind. This is like 5 megs. And so when you have 5 megs in this small container, right? It is a big container, but for 5 megs, it's small. When you have something that large, you have to have a lot of volume coming out. So that's the one thing I would want to see is that sufficient? Will those louvers open up nice and wide? Will it have any amount of force blowing back? Because if it does, here's the thing: if it doesn't have enough air volume coming out, then when you get to like maybe 60 degrees ambient or even 50 degrees ambient outside temperatures, that might be too hot for when the miners are trying to cool themselves off. They have so much pressure back on it that it might actually cause the miner to start overheating when the ambient temperatures are only 50. Not because there's not enough air, which could be another issue, but because it's not escaping fast enough because of that situation on that side. So, but it might not be a problem. Maybe these louvers open up nice and wide, and maybe these side panels are removed, and you have just plenty of air. It's all very easily comes out, no issues, no problems, all that stuff. So who knows? But again, you want to check that out. Here's a couple of additional bits of, I guess this is equipment. This is probably some sort of meter system. What is this thing? I do not know what this is. Southwire. Oh, they manufacture conductor. So this looks like a UL listed conduit here, and the connectors too. This is the type of stuff you have to use in the United States to pass electrical inspection. You got the panels, all that stuff. But I'm gonna take a look here. See, they're using that's APC. That's a surge protector for something. It's running something. Maybe this is a transformer. What is this thing? NEMA 12 IP55. This is a water resistant or waterproof. I wonder what this is. Is this a transformer for a 120 volt? I don't know what that is. It's something. But anyway, you got other things here. What is this? Maybe this is a transformer. Input voltage 208, output 240. Why would you need 208? What is this thing? Anyway, I didn't look into this stuff. You guys can pause the video, take a look at whatever that is. It's probably a transformer, I'm assuming. But then why is it output 240 if it's a transformer to 120? But then this is a twist on. So the twist ons are never 120s, as far as I know. They're all 240. So this is not a transformer, but whatever that is. Anyway, they're using Ubiquiti. It's a Wi-Fi right here. A couple of connections coming in, and so on. Probably like an aggregator. Probably an aggregator over here. This guy right here. Yeah. This looks like probably like a switch aggregator. You can see all of the Wi-Fi is coming in from the switches. See that? So that's pretty much what that is. But yeah, but in terms of quality, before I end this video, in terms of quality, it does look like a quality build. I mean, it's got nice thick metal. This is some good quality metal. Nice and thick. It's going to hold your miners nicely. It's got some bolts holding this up. On this side, it's got quality build. The PDUs look also quality. They don't look cheap. Nice thick PDUs here. I bet you these PDUs are not built by Artemis technology. I bet you it's built in China. They're just putting their label on it. And then the fans there on the bottom. Look at the size of those things. Dang, poor technicians. Technicians are going to freeze to death in here, especially if you deployed like this type of mining container out in North Dakota. And it's like -40 outside, and then these things are like spinning. And they're just going to literally freeze to death. They're gonna have like frozen toes and frozen knees, and just collapse somewhere out in this corner. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys like it. You know what to do. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, last thing before I go, the price. The price is $620,000. Okay, $620,000. Now you do get 5 megs, but if you divide that in, that's very expensive just for the container. Now that's not including the conductor, the wiring, bringing in the 700, probably 750 kc mill that's coming into, probably those are all 750 coming in. Well, to those cabinets, and then from those cabinets, they're pulling in like what, a couple of, let's see, probably 2, 1, 2. I wonder how they're doing to send it up. Probably like 350 or something like that. But anyway, so $620,000 per container. Very, very expensive. You can get cheaper containers, but again, if you're looking to cram 5 megs into something this size, then you don't really have much options. You can't. There's really not much options. If you wanted 5 megs, like with us, then you're going to get 5 containers with us. Now you could get this if you prefer it. I mean, we don't really care. You go ahead and get this for yourself if you want to, but to keep things working perfectly in all temperatures, all ambient temperatures, we would recommend you just go with 1 megawatt containers, because then you have plenty of airflow, you have plenty of space, you have plenty of everything. This is like a crammed approach. You're just cramming stuff inside, so there is that issue there. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys like it. Until next time, goodbye.